on here to some of these stories I was telling you about earlier with the airports and the like, I want to talk about the Constitutional Convention. I've talked about the Convention of States before on this program, but now there are some folks out there who think there's been a little bit of an imbalance of powers in the country. Doug McKelway from the Fox News Channel is covering this story today. Doug, good afternoon.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I know there are some people pushing this idea of a new constitutional convention. What would that look like?
Well, that remains to be seen. It's still in its very, very early stages, but a lot of conservatives and a lot of Republicans think that the time is now ripe for a convention of the states, given the ubiquitous power of Republicans in state governments. Republicans control well over 30 state legislatures, well over 30 governorships right now. The time has never been as ripe as it is in the present time to try to effect change through one of the prescribed remedies elucidated in the convention, which in Article 5 of the convention, which is a convention of the states. And so they're embarking on that process right now. The inspiration behind this, perhaps more than anybody, comes from a radio talk show host, a guy who I know you know very well, Mark Levin,
sure,
who's been preaching this message for pretty much years now. And by virtue of the fact that he has been several-time New York Times bestseller in his books, people show up in droves to get his books signed. He's got something like 8 or 9 million listeners, and his message, repeated oftentimes, is kind of resonating. And a lot of people have picked it up. 11 states now have already promised they want to go into a convention of the states, including Texas being the most recent. But it is gaining some momentum. Still a long, long way from fruition, though.
So with your reporting on this, Doug, I've been told in the past that the goal, I had actually had somebody on here from South Carolina talking about this probably 2 years ago. And obviously a different setting than with President Obama. But he said that the legislation in each state has to be worded identically so that when the convention is opened, the focus is very narrow. If not, everybody can come in and muddy the waters up. Has your reporting talked about that at all?
Yeah, and that's one of the concerns of opponents to this, is because there are so few rules and no governing body about who sets the limitations of such a convention. There are those who feel that it could just get out of control and basically usurp the Constitution. But that said, there are some commonalities among the various states and what their interest would be in a convention of the states. First and foremost, a balanced budget, because of the debt crisis, which is saddling future generations. There is widespread interest in seeing that done. They also want to undo federal regulations, which impose too great a burden on businesses, and a lot of people think just slows the growth of the economy. They want to undo the lack of state sovereignty caused by federal government mandates and state grants. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, there are many other concerns beyond that, but those are the primary ones.
And that's interesting because it's not just somebody in the middle of Montana calling for this. The state of Texas has now endorsed it, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
The state legislature has. Governor Abbott has as well. And there's movement afoot in, again, many of these other states to do precisely the same thing. And perhaps more importantly, there's a very strong grassroots effort. There's an organization which is devoted entirely to saying that this convention comes to pass. They have hands-on grassroots people working in every congressional district across the country to see this happen. And I think that they're counting basically on sort of momentum building through word of mouth and through the work of these grassroots organizations to see it come to fruition. In the past couple of decades, there have been various movements towards a convention of states by individual states with their own individual concerns and causes. But it seems to me that there's sort of a congealing going on right now that could lead to something.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on that, and we'll look for your report on the Fox News Channel. Doug, thank you.
You bet.
Yep, have a great day. Doug McKelway there with Fox News Channel.